Cryptocurrencies are not things you adopt because you trust and love government. Cryptocurrencies are not things that you adopt because everything's going great in your society. When things start falling apart, when your money starts falling apart, when there's a lack of trust in government and governance, people start looking for alternative ideas.
Cryptocurrency is just the natural next evolution of money, of technology, of trust in society.
And that's why blockchain as an industry has gone from 2008, a single person, a single author, a single paper, a single protocol, to a $2 trillion industry with hundreds of millions of people in less than 15 years. It's the fastest growing technology in the history of humanity.
Watch today's whole video because there's one specific reason that Bitcoin and the altcoins are going much higher in 2025. Most people won't share this with you. I will.
It's the most meaningful and significant technology in the history of humanity because at the core of blockchain, what we're trying to do is solve just simply one thing.
Again, watch today's whole video. Send this video to a friend if they still don't understand the potential of cryptocurrency. And crypto is at that inflection point. We've seen moments like this in history before.
And we've seen this throughout the arc of history. So if you look at Europe during the turn of the 19th and 20th century, all these new political systems formed because they didn't really like kings and queens. So you had the rise of fascism and communism, and you had the rise of alternative governance concepts, cooperatives, communes, new types of dictatorships, new types of monarchies. When you look at the 21st century, we're in another inflection point in society globally. The consequences of globalization have created a world where those who have are doing very well. And those who do not have, they're starting to feel the pains of inflation. They're starting to feel the pains of globalization. And there's a lot of uncertainty and hopelessness that people have. There's a crisis of meaning and a crisis of value.
So the purchasing power of your US dollar has never been lower. This only widening the separation of the haves and the have-nots. And it seems the people in charge, the haves, don't really even know what they're doing. Unrealized losses at U.S. banks are 7 times higher than during the 2008 financial crisis.
So why is it we have more productivity than we've ever had in human history, more education than we've ever had in human history, more capacity to produce and know each other, connect to each other in human history, yet the standard of living is starting to decay, and our belief in the American dream, belief in institutions, our belief in this idea of owning your own home and being able to pay for your own family is deteriorating. It's because the systems are broken. The money's no longer sound. We don't trust each other as much as we used to. And people don't know what to believe or where to go. There's a crisis of meaning in the world.
So right now, the biggest entities on Earth are actively accumulating Bitcoin. In fact, the US Bitcoin ETFs purchased over 4,000 Bitcoin on the 18th, over 7,000 Bitcoin on the 17th, etc., etc. There's only 450 Bitcoin mined each day. This will only lead to a supply shock, as there's simply just not enough Bitcoin for what's being accumulated. And just like big tech controls us now,
Google and Microsoft and Facebook and Amazon and BlackRock and a dozen or so others basically control all the money, all the technology, all the media, everything you see, everything you touch. They own America. That's the reality. It's why Boeing can get away with what it does and never face any consequences. It's why Pfizer does what it does. And anybody who tries to change this, they're basically delegitimized as people. So why are we so passionate about who gets to sit in the owned chair? Why don't we ever ask the question, how do we get rid of the ownership behind that chair? Because our founding documents said that's not supposed to happen. The only way you can change that is you have to change the system. These people are powerful because they're middlemen. They own the middlemen. Google owns all your data. Facebook owns the marketplace. Microsoft owns all the infrastructure, the plumbing, as does Cisco and a few others, for how you get your data moved around and the operating systems that run on it. And they have all the intellectual property. And that's why they're worth trillions of dollars. That's why they have hundreds of thousands to millions of employees. That's why they're more powerful collectively than a nation state.
They were late to the game on cryptocurrency. They're actively trying to catch up.
We can pretend it doesn't happen, or we can say, how do you build infrastructure that doesn't have middlemen? This is the economic side of the cryptocurrency industry. This is the magic of what we're doing.
And it's wild just how much of a potential crisis the traditional system is in. Of course, if you're invested in cryptocurrency, that is one of the most bullish charts ever. I loved Darius Dale's interview on the David Lin YouTube channel. I'll share with you just a clip, but you and me both know that the only way out of this, which they've been doing, the governments, the central banks, since at least 2008 crisis, print their way out of it, turn on the money printer.
This is why we've gotten a sequence of populist monetary and fiscal policy since 2008. And we are likely to continue to get a sequence of that populist fiscal policy going forward.
Sorry, what is a populist monetary policy?
Populist monetary policy is socialist monetary policy, the policy that won't allow big banks to fail. The policy that won't allow, hedge fund managers, my clients, to actually have bad years. That's the kind of policy that we see. It's really just all a function of what we see as kind of the main driver of this, which is, we have this socialist economy that's sort of masquerading as capitalism. But the reality is when you have socialism, Democrats, they practice socialism for the poor. If you look at the government social benefits divided by household income, that's been up and to the right for the last couple of generations. If you look at the effective corporate tax rate in this country, that's been down and to the right over the past couple of generations. So both parties are combining to support the incomes of their quote unquote constituents.
This is why blockchain is so powerful, because once you really understand it and you spend enough time with it, there's no way to go back into the Platonic cave. You can't. Because you say, you know what, I don't want to live in a world where a small group of people I've never met, I can't get rid of, get to decide all these things, who, by the way, are doing a terrible job of running the world.
Again, the Bitcoin on exchanges, all exchanges, is shrinking. The global elites are actively buying as much as they can now. It has never been more important to stay in tune in exactly what's happening in crypto. We're so close to 1.5 million subscribers. Click subscribe to stay informed. Join this community. Join this revolution. And by the way, the founder of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, obviously believes that Cardano will be the winner.
In 7 years' time since Cardano launched, we went from nothing to an 11-figure network with millions of people and the largest research group in the world and the passion of the young people. And in another decade's time, we'll be larger than Ethereum. And in another decade's time, we'll be larger than Bitcoin. And in another decade's time, the majority of governments in the world will run on our infrastructure.
I think the race is on. I think it's still too early to determine who will really reach mass adoption. I will keep you updated, and like always, see you tomorrow.